Hey, Truth Seekers, welcome back. Zach here. Last night's Thursday night football game was another scripted game with a predetermined outcome. I have no doubt that the final score of the game was planned. We will get into it. I just want to bring up that last week's Thursday night game was Broncos versus Chiefs on the date of September 17th, 2015. That is a date with 41 numerology, and both Broncos and Chiefs have gematria 41. There were 41 points scored total in that game before two late surprising touchdowns by the Broncos. Anyhow, this scripting in pro sports and football I continue to commentate on and expose. I want to show you the reason last night's game was scripted for an outcome of 53 points. There are 53 men on an NFL roster. It's a special number to football, but it's also a very special number to the Giants, and I think this game had a lot to do with the upcoming World Series. Notice that the Giants won 32-21, which sums to 53. Before we get into all the 53, I just want to show you some other things that stand out about the Giants' stats. Their quarterback, Eli Manning, the son of a former QB, the brother of another NFL QB, had 32 passing attempts, just like the number of points scored. Their leading rusher had 32 rushing yards. Their leading receiver had 116 receiving yards on a Thursday. It should be noted that the words Thursday and country have gematria of 116, like 911 upside down. Also, America sums to 32. I think all of these stats are truly scripted. But what I really want to get to is the fact that this game came 33 days before the start of the World Series, and since before the season begun, I predicted that a New York team would win the World Series, likely the New York Mets. Why? Because New York has gematria of 111. This is the 111th World Series coming up, which begins October 27th, 33 days after this game. And with regards to 53, it has a lot to do with last year's World Series won by the Giants. Notice that in history, in the year 1921, that's the amount of points the Redskins had, in the year 1921, the New York Giants defeated the New York Yankees in the first ever Subway Series 5-3. This is back when the World Series was best of 9 games. Last year when the Giants won the World Series, it was all about 53. They won it on the date of October 29th, 2014, a date with 53 numerology. The head coach, Bruce Bochy, named gematria of 53. There's another Bochy, a different one in MLB history, a different spelling, but also that 53 gematria. How about that? By winning the World Series, the Giants had won 3 of the last 5 World Series, those same numbers, 3 of 5. Earlier in the day, it was announced that a fan of a football game, a Broncos game, was found 110 miles from where he was last seen. Last year's World Series was the 110th World Series. That man was named Paul Kitterman, a name with 53 gematria. Here's the thing from the story last year. Missing adult, Paul Kitterman, age 53. His name sums to 53. Supposedly he's born on March 22nd, 1961. Ha ha. Notice his height, 5'7". World Series with Pythagorean gematria sums to 57. This year, the first no-hitter was thrown by a Giant who wore the number 57. There's even more coded into this, but I just want you to focus on the 53s, from his age to his name. This man was found October 29th, the day the Giants won the World Series with all these 53 connections. Also, making it even more creepy, when the Giants won the World Series last year, it came exactly 66 days after the earthquake in San Francisco that was the worst in San Francisco since the '89 World Series, the Bay Area World Series, Oakland Athletics versus San Francisco Giants. There was a World Series caught live just before the game began. You can go back and watch the coverage of that earthquake. It's the only earthquake ever caught on live TV in real time. Right before the earthquake begins, Jose Canseco is showing crossing home plate in a replay from the game earlier. Jose Canseco wore the number 33 and pumped his fist in the air in the replay right as the earthquake began. I'm telling you, Truth Seeker, it was not an act of God, that earthquake. It was an act of madmen. I speculate on how they do it. You have to think we live in a nation where for 50 years they did underground nuclear bomb testing. Sometimes I wonder if they made big bombs and planted them all along fault lines with mad plans. The fault line that shook Loma Prieta has the gematria of 33. When you write out 33 in Summit in gematria, it sums to 66. Notice, though, that World Series, it has Pythagorean gematria of 57, but with the S exception on the capital S, an approved rule, World Series also sums to 66. It's the USGS that records earthquakes. USGS has simple English gematria of 66. When you pay attention to earthquake reporting, 6.6 magnitude, 66 miles from the epicenter, it's very common. So this isn't even unique to this earthquake. It's just part of a tired pattern. This is a world by the numbers, Truth Seeker. With regards to 53 in World Series, I talked about how the first ever World Subway Series was the New York Giants versus the New York Yankees, won 5-3. Guess what? The World Series 53 years ago was Yankees versus Giants. 53 years ago this year. Again, the football game that comes 33 days before the World Series, which was in New York, had an outcome of 53. See how all this comes together? The missing fan was from an NFL game. All of these leagues are run by the Zionists, Truth Seeker. This man right here, his birthday is March 22nd, which can be written 22/3. The Synagogue of Satan sums to 223. That comes from Revelation, the 66th book of the Bible. The Synagogue of Satan are the false Jews who are said to rule in the end times in the Bible. You can think of them as the Zionist Jews. This man's life number sums to 105, just like the word Zionism, also like the word Masonry. These people are very arrogant. They code their stuff everywhere. Earlier this season, Truth Seeker, the New York Mets' 11-game win streak was snapped by the Yankees. Remember, New York is the 11th state. Talk about signs of a Subway Series. If you sum 1 through 11, it sums to 66. Earlier this year, I just documented this. Power rankings came out. Giants were doing well then. Look at this. 53-second clip from ESPN. It's no coincidence, Truth Seeker. When the Mets went 9-3, Jacob deGrom pitched the game to win that made them 9 wins, 3 losses. 39 and 93 are super important numbers in New York. But look at what his ERA was after this game that made him 9-3. It was .93. Isn't it amazing? His name gematria, Jacob deGrom, sums to 93. This is how scripted the world of sports is. These are impossible coincidences. It is mind-boggling to think that they pull this stuff off, but they really do. They really do, Truth Seeker. Baseball has a gematria of 54. 1 off 53. They won this game 5-4. Baseball equals 54. Right now, the Yankees, close to the top of their division. Right now, they're in position to make the playoffs. And the Mets, also at the top of their division. So a Subway Series, very possible this year. I predicted this before the season began. Sports are rigged, Truth Seeker. Sports are rigged. There is no doubt. This is definitive proof. And I just can't wait until that World Series rolls along. Remember, Alex Rodriguez was 39 years old this year, had his record season with the Yankees. Yogi Berra just died the other day. By the numbers, he died on the day he was first called up to Major League Baseball. I did a video on that. He played for the Yankees, managed the Mets. He retired at age 39. This is a very special number in New York, Truth Seeker. 39, 93, 111. It's all coming into focus. Earlier this year, there was a guy named Stinky Cash making fun of me for saying sports were rigged. I told him that I thought the Mets would be in the World Series and win it. He's from there. He laughed at me. He said that's ridiculous. Everybody from New York knows the Mets have no chance. They suck. I haven't heard from Stinky Cash since then. You know, just like I don't hear from most haters who figure out that I am right and they are wrong. All right, until next time.